parliamentarians pressing the president to clearly spell out the names of those who are corrupt in the country. This is as members of parliament President Ruto to prove bribery claims. Now, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetang'ula has told chairpersons of parliamentary committees that they must uphold integrity while executing their oversight roles. Speaking during the third edition of the National Assembly Leadership Retreat in Mombasa, in the wake of scathing bribery allegations by legislatures, the National Assembly leadership faulted President William Ruto blanket condemnation of the bicameral House and challenged the head of state to table evidence implicating legislators over bribery claims. Here are the full details to the story.
The person who is bringing the allegations must come with a proof. The burden of proof belongs to the person who is coming up with allegations. He who alleges must come with proof. That's all.
So if somebody is corrupt, it is an individual issue. They need to investigate members individually and tell us how they are corrupt. What were they corrupt on? And who gave them that bribery?
Honourable members, the question of integrity is therefore not a choice of what is convenient, but a choice of what is right.
We are here today as leaders to renew our synergy as we work together to deliver for the people of Kenya.
As leaders, we must lead from the front by upholding integrity in our different roles, and in this regard in executing your roles as chairpersons of committees.
Away from that, now to the other stories that are making headlines in the country as chaos erupts at JKIA during Gachagwa's dramatic return from the United States. And scores were injured as former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua supporters clashed with armed goons who attempted to disrupt the procession from JKIA. Now, a group of armed youth attacked the convoy shortly after Gachagua left the airport. Now, armed with stones and crude weapons, the goons pelted the DCP leader's convoy with stones, injuring several people and damaging vehicles. And what was meant to be a triumphant political homecoming for the DCP party leader quickly descended into chaos and violence, disrupting planned celebrations and forcing the cancellation of scheduled stopovers and a rally to address supporters. Now, tensions began to simmer even before Gachagua's arrival as groups of youth, some arriving on motorbikes and others ferried in buses, began arriving at the airport. The youth appeared organized and intent disrupting the procession. Now, moments after Gachagua's convoy left the airport, violence erupted. The youth began hurling stones and vehicles in the procession, damaging cars and injuring several people, including leaders and supporters. Here are the full details to the story.
Mimi nataka niseme hivi, rais yeye anatuma gunza alafu anashika vijana ambao hawajafanya makosa.
Wao wanatupangia jama, wanasema tuwezi fika nyumbani. Tutafika ama tutafika?
Several journalists attacked equipment stolen during Gachagua's return from the United States. Several journalists from multiple media houses were violently attacked on Thursday afternoon while conveying the return of DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua from the United States. Reporters from Royal Media Services, Standard Group and TV47 sustained injuries that had their equipment stolen and saw their vehicles vandalized during the chaos. Among those injured were Citizen TV's Willie Ogunga, who suffered head injuries after being struck with stones. And Ogunga was caught up in the chaos at the Cabanas area, and Ogunga and other journalists were in their work vehicles when they were targeted by the youth. And of course, several violent scenes were seen. Here is a compiled story for the same.
So tukajipata tuko katikati ya goons wa pande ile ya side ya nini Rigathi, na kulikuwa na wengine kutoka hii side nyingine walikuwa wamezuia hiyo magari ya kutoka kwa Rigiji isiteremke chini. So in that confusion kuhepa ndio mimi niliona giza nikashindwa. So kuangalia hivi nilikuwa nafikiria actually macho yangu imetoka. Kuangalia, ukiangalia hii ni nguo, ukiangalia hii yote ni damu. So a colleague alitoa shati yake akamwagilia maji ndio nikashikilia hivi.
Nilichoona ni kidonda ambacho ni kasema approximately 4 centimeters by 6 centimeters. So tumeweza kumshona. Kama
wanahabari kila dakika tunajipata uko katikati, like sisi ndio tuko pale kwa the boiling point ya hizi vitu. So juzi a colleague of ours alijipata hatarini akavunja mkono. Today ni mimi, kesho another journalist. So tungeomba pia serikali uweze kuangalia masuala ya wanahabari, kwa sababu at the end of the day sisi lazima we have to show what is happening. But sasa now if our lives are endangered, hakuna vile tutaweza kupeana story.
Wewe William Ruto, we want to tell you, no amount of intimidation, no amount of police tear gas, no amount of goons will stop you from becoming a one-term president. Ayasiende. Yenye ikifika, miti yote inafanya nini? Tuko na by elections ambazo zinakuja tarehe 27. Tunataka tuaibishe hii serikali ya UDA isipate kiti hata moja. Mtasimama na sisi?
The Standard charged return, and his allies feared police would whisk him away at the airport. Instead, chaos trailed Rigathi Gachagua's convoy as hired goons lay in wait on Mombasa Road, pummeling cars with stones, robbing motorists, injuring supporters, and leaving journalists bloodied. What was billed as a triumphant return turned into a running battle of tear gas, knives, and shattered glass. That is a story that you found on pages 6 and 7 of the Standard this morning. And pictures of jovial and smiling Rigathi Gachagua is in the Standard this morning. As a state goons strike, also the state goons, don't know if they are state goons or whose goons they are, but the Standard is saying they are state goons, and the pictures are in the front page, on the front page of the Standard as well. There is a quote: "I told you yesterday that there was a plan to arrest our party leader and take him to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations," Cleophas Malala, deputy party leader, said. That is the headlining story in the Standard this morning. The Daily Nation, chaotic return, is the headlining story, as the former DP is pictured here trying to be whisked away by his supporters and security. And former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua welcomed by hundreds of supporters at JKIA. Supporters face off with police who bid to breach barricades on restricted zones at JKIA. And Gachagua's motorcade pelted with stones by rowdy youth who had blocked Mombasa Road. And a defiant opposition group counsels Kamkunju rally, makes fiery speeches along busy highway. And that story, those stories you'll find on pages 4 and 5 of The Nation this morning. And among other stories, Shah sent 20 million to ghost facility, and scandal when a Nation team visited Nyandiwa dispensary yesterday. The gate was closed with only a cow grazing inside the compound. That is a story that you'll find on page 7 of The Nation this morning. And the picture of Nyandiwa Health Center is also pictured in The Nation this morning. Ruto, unfair lending rules hurting Africa, and diplomacy, addressing the plenary session of the Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development in Japan. The president said global financial institutions are stifling the continent's development through unfair credit ratings. That is a story that you'll find on page 8 of The Nation this morning. And that sums up that about sums up the dailies this morning. When we come back from the break, we're coming back with your morning sport updates from the matches that are going to be played tonight. The Premier League is also back. There is also Friday night football. So keep it science, and we'll be back after the break.